When I speak to travel agents and travel agency owners, the number one most common challenge that they're all facing is, how do I get more clients? Right? How do I get my phone to ring? And while there's a million different ways that you can market your travel agency, the number one most consistent and proven method that I've found is word of mouth. It's giving your clients a great experience and then having them refer their friends and family to you. And so on this episode, I'm going to focus on a 3-step process that you can implement to increase the number of referrals that you get for your travel agency business. This episode is sponsored by the Dominican Republic Ministry of Tourism, and they've put together this incredible resource at GoDominicanRepublic.com, where you can access tons of information on the destination. You know, if you have a client that's really kind of a beach person and you're trying to figure out where to send them, well, they have write-ups on all the different beaches in the Dominican Republic. Maybe you're trying to find some activities or excursions for your clients. They have lists of just all the incredible experiences in destination, whether that's like adventure type stuff, zip lining, maybe that's more social party boat style, maybe that's fishing, horseback riding, ATVs, there's cultural experiences like Carnival, there's nightlife. The Dominican Republic really has it all. And so as an agent, the first step, of course, is to become knowledgeable, and GoDominicanRepublic.com is going to help you learn about the destination. Ultimately, though, there is no substitute for experiencing it firsthand. If you're an agent who sells resort travel, if you sell all-inclusive resorts, if you book the Caribbean, I would highly recommend that you go and experience the destination firsthand. I know that a lot of wholesalers, tour operators, hoteliers are constantly offering fam trips. You can also schedule your own fam trip, although typically that can be a little bit more expensive, but there's tons of options to become knowledgeable about the destination so that you can share it with your clients. Again, you want to check out GoDominicanRepublic.com to see all the incredible information that they have there. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you visit the destination firsthand so that you can see it with your own eyes. Before I get into my 3-step process on how you can get more referrals for your travel agency business, I did want to take maybe 60 seconds just to talk about why I think referrals are so important. The reality is that humans are social creatures. Nowadays, before somebody visits a destination, they're going on TripAdvisor to read reviews. Right? They're going on Facebook groups to see what other travelers are having to say. Before they're selecting a business in their area, they're reading Google reviews. Before people are ordering a product online, they're reading reviews on Amazon. Before they're watching a movie, they're reading reviews on IMDb or maybe Rotten Tomatoes. Social proof is such an important part of business nowadays. And you have to think, if people value the opinions of strangers so much, think about how much they value the opinions of their closest friends and family. There is no substitute. Personally, I've found that referrals, not always, but are typically way easier to work with. It's like starting off on first base, right? You're not trying to overcome their skepticism and justify why you have value and how you can help them. They're already coming in with this sort of implicit trust that says, my best friend told me that y'all helped them out, and I just want you to help me out too. We think referrals are so important that we've built our business off of it. And not just early on in the process. I mean, our whole destination wedding business is centered around the idea that we're marketing directly towards destination wedding couples. We're focused on providing them an exceptional, stress-free experience so that they'll refer their friends and family to book through us for their wedding. It's also important to note that referrals typically don't cost you anything. You can run referral programs where you give discounts, things like that, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. So the first step in the process is you have to provide as much value as humanly possible to your clients. Nobody's going to give a referral where they say they were perfectly average, right? People are going to give referrals for services that exceed their expectations. So that's an important part that you have to recognize, is that you have to exceed their expectations. And that means that you have to know what is important specifically to your clients. I tend to think of it in terms of personality profiles. Right? Different clients value different things. And so if a client values their time, I'm not going to ask them to get on the phone all the time and go over small details. I'm going to make executive decisions. I'm going to streamline the process. I'm not going to send them, 5 options, which, by the way, I don't recommend sending 5 options anyways, but I'm certainly not going to do it to somebody who's short on time. I'm going to give them maybe 2 options and I'm going to let them compare. I'm going to be very short. I'm not writing paragraph after paragraph. I'm giving them very specific. This is why I think this is good. This is why I think this is good. On my phone calls, I'm preparing before I talk to them on the phone. So I know exactly what I want to cover and I'm not wasting any time meandering, discussing the number of restaurants or pools. They probably don't care. People who value time want the process to be streamlined and efficient, which means that if you run into complications, if you're trying to get like an upper level room category that has limited availability and you're trying to request this room directly from the resort and you know it's going to be a process, you don't over communicate that to your client. You don't have to walk them through everything that's going to happen. You just say, hey, I'm going to work on securing this room for you. I'll be in touch with you by Wednesday at 2 p.m. So for clients that value time, you need to focus on streamlining the process and making it feel easy for them. Now, some clients are going to value the relationship side of things. So that means you're going to need to get them on the phone. You're going to need to build a relationship with them. You're going to need to talk to them about life and about what they're doing and about what you're doing. Because for some people, it's the sort of community aspect of having a friend that they can trust and rely on. Now, you should be trying to build a relationship with all of your clients, but you have to know that there are certain clients that the relationship is king for them. For some clients, information is king. They want to know everything. So you're going to want to have calls with them where you go over all the details of the properties, why you recommended them, why you think they're a good fit. You're going to compare and contrast the options, and you're going to give them feedback based on your knowledge and experience. Maybe you're going to talk about previous clients that have visited these properties and what they said about these resorts. For these clients, they want to know everything. And so the more information that you can give them, the more credible you're going to be, the more they're going to trust your judgment, and the more they're going to appreciate you. Some clients feel overwhelmed, right? So they want the exact opposite. They don't want all the information. They want all the information filtered down so it's easily digestible. Some clients like to feel like they're in control. To speak candidly, I know a lot of travel agents hate these types of clients, right? Because they feel like maybe they're questioning their expertise or knowledge. They're not trusting them. They're looking into all these different options that sidetrack the process. But the reality is that these types of personalities that like to feel in control are often some of the best to give referrals because they're confident. They take ownership of the results. And when they're sharing their great vacation, it's not just, here's the great vacation that somebody else did for me. Here's a great vacation that I created with my partner and collaborator. What I always recommend with these clients that like to do this is just to understand a couple of things. Number one, they're going to want to feel like they're collaborating in the process. So that means that you're going to have long calls with them where you discuss the options and go back and forth and share opinions and thoughts. If they don't trust something that you say, you don't take it personally. They value having their own opinion and making up their own mind. That's part of the process. That's fine. Keep it moving. If they come to you and say, hey, I found these 3 options I want to look at, right? I found this 4th option. I found this 5th option. You just have to know how to manage that. So you're going to say, okay, well, this option I don't recommend because you said this was important to you and it doesn't have that. The second option I don't think is a good fit because I've had clients that have visited there and they had issues with X, Y, and Z. This third option actually does look like a great option. I'll go ahead and put together some pricing and we can compare that as well. For these types of clients that like more control, you have to be more collaborative, but you also have to be more assertive because they're likely to fall off the rails. But if you can build a system that enables you to collaborate with these customers, to build these incredible experiences, they're going to talk about it to as many people as they possibly can. They are great clients for referrals. So you just have to take your ego out of it and build a system that enables you to work with these clients. So again, you just want to figure out what is important to your client. What do they value? How do I over-index in that one area or those 2 areas or those 3 areas, whatever it is. Another thing that you can do to provide more value for your clients is just simple, good customer service. It's simple things like preparing for the calls to make sure that you have all the right questions to ask them, asking great follow-up questions, digging deep, making sure that you're actually listening to what they're telling you, and then repeating back those desires and needs to them so that they know that you understand them and that you care. It's about communicating why you made the recommendations that you did. It's about being, calm and reassuring maybe when they're feeling a little bit stressed in the process. It's about being open, honest, kind, appreciative, patient. It's all the simple things with customer service that every travel agent intuitively kind of knows because it's such an important part of the business. But sometimes it's easy to get into autopilot and to lose track of being consistent in that area. So I just want to bring that up. Yes, you want to focus on giving your client exactly what they want, but you also want to focus on the core fundamentals of your business, which is delivering an incredible experience to every customer. The second step in getting more referrals for your travel agency business is giving them a story to share. Referrals are typically centered around narrative. And so if you don't give them a story to share, it's going to be harder for them to really sell it to their friends. They might say, oh yeah, he's great. It's not quite the same as if they tell a story. So whether that's in destination, sending them to an incredible resort, maybe helping them plan an incredible excursion or tour that they can share with their friends, an incredible experience, maybe candlelight dinner, a welcome bottle of champagne in the room, a thank you note, little touches throughout the process that's going to give them a story to share with their friends and family. You also want to give them a story to share in the process. Nobody's going to say, yeah, well, I reached out to Chris and we exchanged emails for a couple of weeks and he sent over some options. We went back and forth and then we, picked a hotel that was good fit and we went from there. Nobody's going to share a story like that. Nobody's going to share a referral like that. It has to be stronger. It has to be something like, yeah, it was crazy. I just called him up, told him kind of what I was looking for. He had some options to me the same day. We had a great call where we went over all the details of all the packages and why he thought those were a good fit. And we got it booked. It was like super stress-free. So the second thing is you have to give your clients a story to share. And the more stories that you give them to share, the more likely they're going to give you a referral or they're going to have an opportunity to give you a referral. Because of course, every story that you give them to share is a potential thing they're sharing on social media, which is going to give them a route to share your information and how you help them. Number 3 in this process, which is probably one of the most important, you have to ask for the referral. A lot of travel agents are kind of scared about this part of the process. They don't want to feel like they're taking advantage of their clients or overstep any bounds. But there's ways that you can communicate this to your clients that makes it feel like it's not overwhelming. Number 1 is, when are you going to do it? I recommend doing it after you book the reservation. I know a lot of people think, well, it needs to be when they return from travel. No, it doesn't actually, because when they return from travel, they've got a million things on their mind. They've taken off from work. They're coming back to the crazy life. They're probably looking forward into all the things that they need to do. And now your ask for a referral is competing with all those things on their to-do list. If you ask them before they leave, they've got all the things on their mind that they have to accomplish before they leave. You're competing with that. What you want to do is you want to ask very early in the process. You want to plant the idea in their head. And it's something very simple. Maybe after you confirm the reservation, you can just say something like, John, thank you again so much for the opportunity to assist you in planning this trip. You're going to have an incredible time. I'm going to follow up next week. We can look into some excursions and tours and maybe kind of build out the rest of your vacation. Also, if you have any friends or family that are looking to take a trip, I'd love to help them out. Please send them my way. It can be something very simple like that. If you want to do something a little bit stronger, you can ask, who else do you know that is planning a trip? We've done that certainly with our destination wedding couples, where they'll book a family member and we'll just ask them, okay, now that we've got Uncle Tom taken care of, who else in your family are you wanting to get confirmed? So there's ways to communicate this. You want to kind of figure out what works for you, what you feel comfortable with. But the reality is that you have to ask for referrals. It's a fundamental part of the process. So again, the 3-step process is very simple. Number 1, you have to crush it on the client experience, right? You have to figure out what's important to them. You have to provide it to them, whether that's they want things to be easy and stress-free. They want to build a relationship. They want a ton of information. They want to feel like they're in control. You just have to figure out what's important to them. Number 2, you have to give them stories to share. That's throughout the process. That's about how easy it is. That's about how good of a person you are and how kind you are. That's about the things that you did for them in destination, the experiences that you helped them plan. It's everything. So that's give them a story to share. Third, you have to ask for the referral. There's no substitute. You can't just assume that people are going to do it on their own. Sometimes they need just a little bit of a shove, and telling them how much you appreciate them for the opportunity and that you love the opportunity to help their friends and family. That's typically all it takes for it to click in their head and say, actually, you know what? My aunt was just talking about taking a cruise. Yeah, I can send her your information. So I hope this episode was helpful. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. Until next time, take care.